What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined, of course, as always, by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash. And boy, do we have an episode for you. People were asking for an emergency pod because of how crazy this free agency cycle has been. Notably, of course, is the absolute freak show, reality TV show that has been the Max Crosby Ravens Raiders saga. It's been absolutely nuts, on top of course, all the actual free agency signings that have gone, and outside of that. We're going to talk about all of it, all the big stuff. But before we do, Matt, Theo, on this beautiful Wednesday night, how are you guys doing?
I'm at peace. I'm peaceful.
Yeah, because your team hasn't done anything.
That's not true. We lost Elton Jenkins and we lost Quay Walker and we lost Malik Willis. So we've been busy.
What are you losing your mind for, Blaiden? I don't get this at all.
I just think it's funny.
What?
We lost Kobe Wooden, and then we signed Javon Hargrave. You might think that's kind of a 1-for-1, but we picked up Zaire Franklin, bro. So it's really 5D chess.
So true, man. Matt, I know you're doing great. Of course, you guys got Devin Lloyd. And we'll talk.
Yeah, no, I'm hype about that. I didn't realize the Packers cutting Elton Jenkins was such a hoot, or the Rashawn Gary trade was.
Well, no,
dude,
it's the
this
fact
is
that
like
Theo's is like,
you don't understand the what's so delightful about it, Matt, is that the Browns signed Elton Jenkins, and that is enough to just make the average man,
frankly, even the mention of a Cleveland football team.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about the Browns.
No, but your body language said a lot about the Browns. You can't even, you don't even have to say anything.
My body language, my aura was just straight orange.
We should just get into the football stuff.
We really should.
Wait. But there's such an important thing that I have to say that will derail the entire free agency discussion.
Okay.
I finished Severance, Matt. I'm done with season 2.
How did you look? I was realizing after I promised you that we could talk about this, and we should, that I haven't seen the show in a minute. What did you think of the end, though? What did you think of the end of season 2?
I do want to throttle Mark. All right. I do want to throttle Mark, and I am wondering, where are they going? Like, where on earth are you going?
I think the idea is that they don't really have much of a game plan, but judging by the last episode, if the writers want Mark's plans or lack of a plan to work out, it will. Right? I mean, the whole season, especially the last few episodes of season 2, I'm thinking, like, how the hell are they going to pull this thing off? Spoilers if you haven't seen it, of course. Because in season 1, I thought they did such a good job of like, oh, here's how they beat what seemed to be sort of like, kind of a unstoppable force in the company from the position that they were in. And then the end of season 2 rolls around, and it's basically just like, well, they're crazy, and they're just going to do crazy stuff. And Mark's going to run down to this door with, like a key card, and the guy is just going to be there. And he's just going to be sacrificing a goat.
Well, this is where you can't get too hung up on anything in Severance, I feel like. Once you start thinking about the logic of how any of this is getting pulled off or why it exists, it's completely out the window because even in season 1, they have to get into the security room to pull the levers, right? They find all the instructions. There's nobody in the security room.
But there's more.
Dylan can reach everything.
There's way more build up to that throughout the season.
There is,
yes, they get some
but that's
breaks,
the only shit that they got going on because the scope is just smaller, I feel like.
And when they enact their plan, maybe I'm misremembering it, but when they enact their plan in season 1, they have an idea of how it's going to go down. They're not just like, we're going to run there and cross our fingers. Yeah. And I know a lot of people are like, this isn't the most important part of the show. And it's like, I get that, man. But I just kind of rolled my eyes at that whole section because it felt like so much of the finale was just setting that up. I still like a lot about the show. I loved season 1. I thought that season 2 had its ups and downs. And we'll see.
Season 2 is funny because there are things like that where like they just rush maybe through the whole rescue and like, yeah, the security guard needs to die and the Thai needs to get the blood to the door and he needs to, the doors all need to be marked. Like all these things need to happen. There can only be one security guard. Like Milchek needs to get locked in the room and there needs to be a marching band. Like all these little things that are like, okay, this is just kind of happening, isn't it? There's and this is true of the whole show. Like when he's getting reintegrated in that warehouse, the other security guard dies. The other head of the security gets killed, and then that never comes up again. And it just kind of works out that way. So like some things are like crazy super rushed, I feel like, about Severance. But then like all of season 2 is happening because he yelled, "She's alive," and then he became Outie Mark again. And then there's like this miscommunication on what he meant by that. And like if he's talking about the baby, if he's talking about the wife, like 99.9% of other shows would everybody would know what that means. The plot would move on. Like they get caught up on these little.
I think that makes sense perfectly. And essentially their plan.
It does make sense. It does make sense, but it's a detail that I think a lot of shows would overlook of like some aspects of planning they like really spend a long time on, or like, you know what I mean? Like she's alive. That's, like a lot of TV shows would just say, oh, she's alive. Everybody knows what that means at the party. Like the plot moves on. Here, Mark S is like, well, that's not really what I mean. Like, surely that can't be true. And like, they have to have this whole debate about like whether or not he was talking about the picture in his hand or the baby. And it's like that kind of thing I like because it is realistic. It does make sense. But they kind of took a lot of time on the dynamics there.
You think any Mark was wrong at the end? He should have gone out the door.
I don't know. It's an interesting question because if he goes out the door,
I'm not going out the door. If he goes out the door, he's killing himself.
Yeah, he's killing himself.
Like Outie Mark is not going to be like, I got you, bro.
I love that he hated Outie Mark when they talked.
That's because Outie Mark sucks.
He does suck. He's
obviously this guy doesn't care about any Mark. That's why any Mark exists. So I can't blame him for that. And it's like, what's going to happen? Well, probably whatever is going to happen is going to be at least as good as if he had just walked out that door, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but
yeah, it's.
I'm rolling the dice on that.
But I just don't know where they're going. Like you've obviously maybe it's a metaphorical thing. They're not going anywhere. He just made the choice. But
it's going to stop being metaphorical when
it's going to stop being metaphorical when season 3 starts. Like they gotta like, are they going to go back to their desk? Like where the fuck are they going?
I have no idea, man.
They're just going to live in the hallways and shit. I don't know. Like, isn't he going to clock out later?
I'm willing to see that part.
I'm willing to see too. I'm willing to see. That's just. I agree with you that like if you're any Mark, Outie Mark is a bitch. You don't know what's out there. Heliar is a baddie. Like there's all these reasons to stay inside. But like, where are you going? Milkshake is gonna beat your ass, bro. Like, what?
Sure. I think that decision makes way more sense than like all of the decisions that the company had to make, that Lumen had to make to like let Mark get to that point, essentially. That I don't take issue with him making a snap decision like that.
No, I don't really take issue with it either. I do want to see where they run to, and I am curious to see where they go with where they left it. Milchek, shout out Milchek, by the way. Unbelievable performance from him in season 2. I feel like every performance at one of his parties where he's dancing and shit. Some of the greatest physical acting I think I've ever seen. Like he is so good in this season. The plots where he's in trouble because he uses too many big words. Like I loved everything Milchek had going on this year. It was weird. It was just completely out there. He somehow made it believable, even though the stuff he's doing is like completely not of this world. Like he's awesome. That guy, I absolutely love his performance. Yeah. But anyway, enough about Severance. That's long enough.
You want to start with the Max Crosby stuff.
Yeah, sure. Let's go
That's
for
a
it.
big ticket. I mean,
Biggest ticket.
my opinion is that it's kind of tough to tell who's right and who's wrong. You saw that first report come out, like the Ravens have backed out of the deal from the Raiders, and you're like, okay.
Well, that's how you knew the Raiders were like mad and it was bad. Like,
I would have preferred if they put out a statement like that.
Dude.
We're mad.
You're expecting to get 2 first-round draft picks, and you're expecting to get off the cap hit of Max Crosby, and now you have to just eat both of those. Like, you don't get either of the picks, and you have to take the cap back, which, like, they have a lot of money. It'll probably end up working out, but they spent so much money in the time that they thought that Max Crosby was being traded. So, like, I get being pissed off.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not good for them. And now you got to find another trade, I would figure. I mean, I guess you could keep them, but you made this whole big point about like being realistic about where the team is right now, and trying to think long term. And then you're going to sit back and say, well, we got Quay Walker, so new game plan. Like I guess maybe, but I would figure yourself to trade him. I would figure you get less now, right? Because if anything, now every team's going to have a question about the injury stuff, and the Ravens, I would suppose, were the highest bidder, right? And now they're off the market. So it's definitely not good for the Raiders.
And other teams smell blood in the water now of, look, you just spent on Linderbaum and made him the highest paid player ever at his position by a 50% increase, and Walker and Dean and Naylor and Stokes and, this huge haul, the biggest haul of all of free agency. And now you're absorbing $30 million that you didn't think that you had to pay out. If you're another team, you're like, well, maybe we'll just wait and see, because there's a real chance that you don't want to pay out Mark Davis the amount of cash that these guys have now demanded in 2026. They can fit them all in under the cap, of course, because they just have so much money. But you got to pay all these guys a certain salary, like with actual, cash that year. And we see it with the Bengals all the time, right? They can fit in guarantees like any team does.
Right.
They all are working under the same constraints, but their owner is a certain way and doesn't want to give out that much guaranteed cash, right? So he doesn't do it. So even though Max fits in under the cap, does or does not Mark Davis have any interest in actually paying him for this year? And if the answer is no, then other teams are just gonna like make them hurt, right? Like, oh, how about a 4th round pick? How about nothing at all? Yeah. If we all agree to, I mean, that's just what they'll start at. That I'm just maybe it's an extreme to make a point, but the other teams will try to make the Raiders hurt as much as possible if they get dealt this bad hand.
Well, it really depends on who the league believes, I feel like, right? If there really is like medical issues with Crosby that were unforeseen, then I mean, I wouldn't pay that much to get him at all. If you really think the Ravens just got cold feet, I'd be more willing to get back towards my original offer, and maybe that ends up being a 1st round pick with significant plus. Right.
What do you guys think happened with
I have no idea. I don't think that we can know, if I'm being honest with you.
Maybe we can't know, but we can speculate.
Well, we can speculate. I mean, honestly, I have no idea. On the one hand, like, you did know that Max Crosby was coming off of a major injury, but on the other hand, that doesn't exclude the fact that, or it doesn't prevent the fact, like, it could be worse than they were told, right?
Yeah.
And if you're the Ravens, it didn't help you necessarily to go through this and lose a bunch of free agents and think you were doing all of this. I mean, I know they've ended up getting Trey Hendrickson, and we'll talk about that too, but there's no benefit to doing that unless you really had something against the Raiders. Now, maybe they truly did get cold feet and just point blank changed their mind. Or maybe it's somewhere in the middle, and it's like it was slightly worse and the Ravens were already not feeling great, and then they kind of backed out. It's really hard to know what the level of detail.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they got cold feet in some way. But
well, it's fair to get cold,
Right, but it's when the X-rays came back and they were like, "Damn, this shit is."
Well,
fucked.
that's not what I mean by getting cold feet.
I know, and that's not what most people mean. But like, why? I guess if they make the trade and the X-rays come back completely normal, I'm just not sure that I buy they all talk to each other and we're like,
Like
yeah,
if your
send it
husband
back.
shows up or your fiance shows up to the wedding in like a Halloween costume and you're standing at the altar and you're like, I might go no. That's not really getting cold feet as much as it is reacting to new information.
Exactly.
If you get bad x-rays back for Max Crosby and you're like, yeah, well, that changes things. That's not getting cold feet. Getting cold feet would be like, he is as injured as they thought and they just changed their mind, which
Or
would be
what if
incredibly lame.
they had, the trade ready to go, and then they get a call from Trey Hendrickson's agent, and they're like, "Oh, we could get Hendrickson for way cheaper, both in terms of money and in terms of draft assets."
The problem with this theory is that Trey Hendrickson is not cheap.
He wasn't cheap. He was $30 million. It's 4 years, 112 with a max capacity of 120, right?
Yeah, that's what the third biggest contract handed out in all of free agency. Like
That's almost Jalen Phillips money.
Almost.
yeah, we'll get into that too. But I just like, oh my God, Trey Hendrickson only costs $112 million. Like, yeah, that's probably fucking what you thought before free agency. Like,
Sure.
4 years, 112. That's not nothing. I mean, for a guy coming off a ACL injury, or not an ACL injury, a major injury.
I mean, he had hip surgery, dude.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I just don't really think like they learned that Trey was some sort of bargain out of nowhere, and then that altered their Max Crosby plan.
Well,
I think
reportedly they were like looking at Hendrickson even with Crosby on the team or whatever, right? So
that's not unbelievable.
I don't know exactly how that all played out, and I feel like our speculation about it is like very speculative. We just don't have a lot of information. Yeah. Some things you have more information on, like even the stuff that they say where it's like the thoughts around the league or that the Ravens are big mean blockheads. It's like, okay, I think.
I really don't think that matters at all. Like, I really think that if the Ravens outbid you, maybe it matters for the Raiders. But if you're the Seattle Seahawks and one day you're trading Devin Witherspoon away, who knows? Mm-hmm. And the Ravens call with the best offer, you're going to say, no, thank you, Ravens, because you might nix the deal. I don't know. Like,
I don't like if the Raiders got a higher offer than what the Ravens said, they would move on.
I'm saying, do you think this hurts the Ravens long term? Like, do you think that?
No.
Yeah, I don't really think so.
I mean, I guess it depends.
I think it hurts them that they don't get Max Crosby. That's where I think it hurts them the most. And that's why
in a similar, I'll say this, if the in a situation where it's like before the new league year, like, yeah, I actually kind of think that it would. Would you take it? There's a small enough gap where I'd be like, I kind of want to take the security if I really think the Ravens are prone to just getting cold feet. But that would take like another offer being on the table that is only slightly less, I feel like, where I feel like they're comparable. And it would take me really believing that the Ravens just said, screw this, we're not doing it.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess this brings it to the point of how do you in general feel about the Ravens as we've been 3 days into this sort of free agency cycle?
I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, they mostly just lost guys except for Trey Hendrickson. And I think Hendrickson is actually a fine addition here that makes a lot of sense. Like, there's some risk here, but not nearly as much as Crosby. The upside isn't also what Crosby is. Hendrickson's not the run defender that he is. And even, we know how that is. But he has really put together, like in the last, 2 of his last 3 years have been fantastic seasons from a pass rushing perspective. And it's a type of player and a level of player that the Ravens have been missing and have not had, right? So I think taking a swing there for a team that is like, we want to win the Super Bowl next season, whether or not we feel great about them going forward and in their path. Like that's the timeline that they're on with Lamar right now.
Right.
So when they look at a guy like Hendrickson, it's like, well, he's older. It just doesn't matter as much to a team like them as it does to, I don't know, a team maybe with like a rookie quarterback that can think a little bit farther ahead, or a young quarterback or something like that. The issue is that it just feels like overall, I mean, you got Simpson, but they've lost a lot of talent. Linderbaum obviously being part of it. Likely they lost, who got a big contract himself. Who else am I thinking of?
You're thinking of, let's see, I got my list. Ardarius Washington was a more minor one, but Charlie Kolar, Draymond Jones, Alohi Gilman, they probably lost more starters than anybody else.
Yeah, it's a lot. They lost a lot of snaps.
Yeah. So I really don't feel good about them, especially, and people disagree with me, Linderbaum, I think, should still be on the team. I don't think there was any reason for them to be like, yeah, no, 3 years, $27 million a year. That's 3 years, $81 million. That's too much for Linderbaum.
I think it's fair for them to say $27 million is too much for Linderbaum. I mean,
it's an insane cut.
It's an insane. Like I said,
they were already willing to give him 22.
27's just a lot more, though. Like 27 is the highest paid center is only $18 million. $5 million is a huge chunk of that.
Yeah,
it is.
It is, but I agree with you that they shouldn't have let him hit the market.
Hit free agency. I completely agree with that. I think Linderbaum is great. I completely agree that I'm paying stars even if they're not at like super valuable positions. I'm on board with all of that.
Yeah.
But like 27 million is a ton per year. I think it's fine for the Raiders, for the record. I mean, they're in a position where, assuming they still like get off of Crosby, they're in a position where they have to spend a ton of money. I mean, they've got to get up to the salary floor at a point. And when you haven't been drafting well for a while and you don't have your own guys to pay, you got to go out and find those dudes. If anything, I think resetting the market with guys who you really feel like are top, 3 or so, top 5 or so, whatever at their position, is not a bad way to do it. It might not be the most efficient thing in the world for like the absolute maxed out, like Super Bowl contending top 3 team champs, or fair enough. But for a team in their position, I mean, I'm looking at that as a good contract for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Linderbaum's a great player, and part of the reason why his market value ended, or why he got signed for as much as he did, was A, because he's the next guy to get paid in his tier of player. That's always a boost, and then also there was this big market for centers because no one has a center right now.
But there were a lot of centers out there to get. No,
sure, but is he not the best one to get?
Sure, I agree that this to be such
a wild reset for the record. This is a 50% jump.
It is.
And yearly value. So it's they paid a lot no matter how you want to slice it.
Yeah. I think that Linderbaum is just a special run blocker, right? Like in the stretch system that Kubiak runs,
right?
He is probably the best in the league at it. The knock on him is definitely pass protection. And I do think that he can approach pass protection like it's run blocking almost sometimes, and like catch guys on their side and let them upfield a little bit. And he just hasn't graded out as well in that area. And that's where the Ravens are like, look, what if we don't run stretch all the time? They don't. They're a more diverse run scheme than that. What if we can find that kind of first step in the draft? What if there's someone better at calling protections? Like, what if we can have a center for $1 million instead of $27 million, and then we can go sign Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson like they planned? Then I can start to understand. But they didn't get Max Crosby. And I mean, as maybe questionable as Linderbaum's pass pro can be at times, or maybe it's not rock solid, the Ravens have been the number 1 team against the blitz by EPA 2 years in a row. So like, if they have a center who can't call protections or can't pass block, I think he was 4th in center pass block win rate 2 years ago. I'm not sure where he was at last year. Like, I think the pass protection is there to complement the run game enough where he can be a market resetting center. But the Raiders are just such a special situation because they did have to reach the cap floor.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sucks that the max thing got reset because like, I just feel like, yeah, for the Raiders, it made sense to like overpay Linderbaum because he had the cheapest roster ever. And I loved it when they did because like, okay, now Genty can actually show something. Now
Right. Yeah.
Mendoza has a protector. Like at the end of the day, you're right, Blaiden, that like it's $5 million, the difference between 22 and 27. When you have to spend $110 million to get to the floor, that really is just a penny in a well more than when you're where the Raiders are at. So I liked it for them, but now it's like, holy cow. I don't know. It could Crosby stay? Like, what's going to happen? And then for the Raiders, now you've lost Linderbaum without Crosby, and it's like I could get losing Linderbaum if it meant a badass edge duo, but now it's just the one guy and not the crown jewel. So
Yeah.
I just think it was a win-win trade and a lose-lose situation now that it's been undone, really. And I'm scared that Crosby's going to end up going to the Bears for like a second round. That's what I'm really scared of.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, we were speculating that could happen, not maybe for a second, but we were speculating that the Bears might make a move for Crosby to begin with. And I know you were happy when he went to the Ravens. So
I was happy. I was like, okay, we'll be able to run the football on the Bears still. Like, I don't know, especially now that he might be discounted. I'm terrified that the Vikings get Kyler for the minimum and the Bears get Crosby for a discounted rate. Just perhaps some of the weird, quirky cheat codes of value this offseason, and both of those teams are like first in line to take advantage.
If we're just kind of going scattershot here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cardinals.
They didn't even do that bad in the free agents part of it, but like, what is their quarterback plan?
I mean, I really, when they released Kyler, I was like, bro, I nailed the Willis stuff. Bro, let's fucking go. And then, no, they're going Minshew, and I guess, like, I remember last year, like, I was saying the same thing about Daniel Jones, but is Minshew, like, a serious quarterback option here? Or are they just, like, semi-punting on the season and saying, hey, we're going to go for a top pick in next year's draft? Because that's how it kind of feels to me.
It might be hindsight, but I think Daniel Jones is far superior just from like an athleticism standpoint to Minshew.
And Minshew's coming off a big injury, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jones was a top 10 pick, a top 5 pick, I think. And Minshew was a 6th rounder. Like, not that that's the end all be all, but Jones has tools, you know what I mean? Like that Minshew doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Cardinals quarterback situation, it's very bleak. It's hard to it's very clear, like, I think with the Ravens and the Cardinals, that they kind of made moves with the expectation that certain things were going to go their way, and now they haven't.
Do you think that's what happened? What makes you say
I
that?
I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't have an expectation of things going their way, but it just feels like
because the Willis contract did not end up being so big that you would just let everything fall apart. And like, what was stopping you from necessarily releasing Kyler after you got it done? Because Kyler's going to go play on the minimum now. That is one of the best quarterback options available this
It's
offseason.
unbelievable.
Like for a team like you bring up Minnesota, it would be a total bailout. And Kyler comes with his issues, and there's been problems in Arizona, and there's been injury issues, and there's limitations, of course. But in terms of like playmaking talent, he's so far and above most of your choices, and he's the cheapest of all of them because you're going to be able to get him for the minimum, and it makes no difference to Kyler how much you pay him.
Yep.
When you look at the other quarterback signings, I mean, Kyler for the minimum screams at you. Like, it really screams at you. Daniel Jones, he's signed like the biggest 2-year extension ever. It's $44 million a year. It's up to $50 million a year over 2 years.
It's up to 2 years, $100 million. That is
for a guy who like was a savior for you last year, 100%, but ultimately got another injury, and you ended with 8 wins, and he's still like Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? Like, there's still maybe a pumpkin moment on the horizon.
Maybe. I think I would be more. I think I'm still optimistic about what Daniel Jones has turned into. Right. I think like Steichen.
I'm optimistic about it, but your Daniel Jones is very risky for $100 million. $100 million.
Daniel Jones has played more bad football than good. I agree, Blaiden. Like when everything's cooking in the Colts system, I do think there's some legitimate, sustainable success there, but you're not exactly getting a ton of surplus value at that price point. And that's on top of the fact that he's coming off an Achilles injury. I mean, that's a major injury. So
he broke his leg, played on it, and then tore his Achilles.
Right.
Yeah. So
you can be optimistic about him, but the fact is you can be optimistic about Kyler too, and there's $100 million of difference there. And with Malik Willis, I mean, he's started a tiny handful of games. Like looking it up, he avoids looking it up. He's attempted 71 passes in his career to the middle of the field.
I don't mind the Willis contract.
I don't mind the Willis contract, but again, it's
a risk. The Willis contract is a risk. I just think that contracts have become so inflated from what a lot of people who are on Twitter remember as kids or like on TikTok or whatever. Mm-hmm. And especially quarterback contracts that like you see, a guy who really hasn't played a ton and he gets a dollar amount like that. And it's like, wow. So they're just all in after a handful of games. And it's like, well, Willis is going to end up being one of the lower paid quarterbacks who isn't on a rookie deal and is starting. Last year, there were 20 QBs on a contract with an average value higher than actually $30 million. So not even the 23 that he's getting. And then there were 9 other starters who were on rookie deals. So among guys who are like viewed as very low end starters, this is about what you would expect. Is it a risk with Willis because we haven't seen him play that much? Yeah, absolutely. But did he look legitimately good when he played last year for Green Bay? Yes. And I think he's got some serious upside with a nice arm and obviously great mobility. Yeah, I think it's a fair price point.
It's a fair price point. Look,
only $8.5 million.
If Willis is anywhere near what his numbers in Green Bay are, this is an absolute steal. When you look at Super Bowl champions, a lot of times you see quarterback contracts in this sweet spot, whether it be a rookie deal like Drake May, or they're making a certain percentage of the cap in that season. Like Jalen Hurts had signed his extension, but the money was more backloaded. It hadn't really kicked in yet. Like the cap hits that Willis is going to see is a nice spot for like a mid-tier quarterback to be at. And it's not a terrible gamble to imagine that he can become that. All right, I get it. But even if he is a mid-tier quarterback, Miami is not a Super Bowl contending roster, right? No. Their defense is kind of a black hole. And yes, we don't really know what he's going to look like in this scheme at all. I mean, in his career, his entire rookie contract, he attempted 71 passes over the middle. Tua did that in between weeks 3 and 6 this season. So like, we don't really know what'll happen when we take the leash off Malik Willis and say, you're our starting answer over the course of the entire season. Can he really see through the traffic? Can he really hold it together under pressure? Can he really not be a negative play machine over the course of the year? Because if he is, you've given this money to him when you could just be running out, like we said in our prediction episode, you could be running out Ewers or young guys and just using it as an evaluation period for them while the team is bad. I don't know. That's true. It's not a terrible, I don't think it's a terrible deal. And I think look, rolling out Ewers over the course of an entire season is your answer. Easier said than done for sure.
I agree with the overarching point about Kyler. I guess just with Willis, especially after we've seen some of these mid-sized quarterback contracts work out well, and especially when you compare it to everything else and when you kind of readjust your mind for like, okay, what do quarterbacks actually get? I mean, shit, did the Panthers paid Kenny Pickett $7.5 million?
Yes. Getting back to Kyler, Willis could be a good contract, but it's an unknown. Daniel Jones could bring the Colts way farther if he stays healthy, but it's an unknown. Like Kyler's an unknown, but you're not paying him $20+ million a year. You're not paying him $40+ million a year. You're paying him one. Like it's unbelievable to think about. Like Jones and Willis are maybe two of the riskiest deals handed out in this entire free agent class. And then Kyler is legitimately peaches and cream, and he was the 14th EPA per play quarterback in 2024. That's not that long ago. The Vikings would kill for that kind of quarterback play. He might be a better reclamation project than Darnold was. So they bet Steelers come in and offer $40 million and give him an incentive to take more than the minimum.
Though is kind of the favor right now.
Of course, who wouldn't want to play in Minnesota? Like, if they would, like, the only reason that he wouldn't is because they would feel he's not a scheme fit, and they say, we like our inbreakers too much. Sure. We would rather have Geno than Kyler, or somebody who can just kind of stand and be. We would rather have a Daniel Jones type who can just kind of stand there while the pocket is collapsing and get it between the linebackers. Like, the only reason they would not sign Kyler is because they would value that too much, and they would say, like, we would rather have a scheme fit. But look, they just played. Well, go ahead, Blaiden.
I'm glad you brought up Geno Smith. I was going to change the subject here, unless you have more to say.
I was just going to say, like, well, they just played with J.J. McCarthy, and they took all the middle of the field throws out of the playbook, and they still won 9 games. So, like, they're probably not willing to snub $1 million Kyler Murray for that perceived weakness.
You know who else doesn't fit their scheme? Bad quarterbacks. I'm taking a shot on Kyler.
Yeah. No, my hope is that the Steelers, he somehow likes the Steelers scheme more or something. Because it's really, those are the only 2 musical chairs left, is the Steelers and Vikings.
The Steelers with Metcalf and Pittman, that does kind of make sense.
And McCarthy, right? Who's more static. He's more spread. Like, when you think about Mike McCarthy, you don't think the meta of today, 12 personnel, play action, and breakers. That's what they fired him for and brought in LaFleur for. And he's spread out. He let Dak change things at the line of scrimmage, like threaten the sidelines and hit the seam, quick game, slant, da-da-da-da-da. Kyler may legitimately feel more comfortable in that type of scheme, but he doesn't get to play with Justin Jefferson and Brian Flores. He gets to play with, Pittman and DK, which...
Not bad. And they've got good tight ends there, too, in Pittsburgh. So, like, it could be a good situation.
It's not terrible. I mean, I'd be interested if Pittsburgh got Kyler. I don't think that would have to be nothing, but, like, Minnesota's clear. Here's the question. Like, as a situation, if you can get past the scheme thing.
Would you pick Pittsburgh to win the division if they had Kyler?
I'd have to see the rest of the offseason.
We'll see who the Ravens get at 14, because if they get, like, Bane, I'd be like, oh, wow, this worked out actually well for them.
It's going to fall to 14?
I don't know. Maybe. If they get, I don't know, Bailey or someone I don't like as much at 14, then I'll say, damn, it sucks. They should have gotten Max Crosby.
Yeah.
I think right now, I would probably pick the Ravens, who are a field goal away from beating them, now have edge rushing juice and a healthier a healthier Lamar. But I guess with Kyler, like, that's a hell of a lot better than Aaron Rodgers. So maybe
I'm taking the elite quarterback who doesn't have the Bengals defense as it stands right now.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, let's talk about Geno Smith, Theo, because he's a New York Jet. He's getting his second chance. He's returning home. He's not going to write back. How much juice do you think is still left in the tank here?
I think the Jets are not cooking.
Yeah, we should talk about the Jets as a whole rather than just Geno, who is like a valid shot. I think it's fine.
It's a valid shot if you're the Vikings. Like, then I would start to get more excited about Geno. Is like, he's in a spot
I
where
think the supporting cast with New York could be fine. If they get another receiver too, I think it's okay. I mean, they've invested a lot in their offensive line.
It's okay. They're just going to have to score 50 a game, and that might lead to Geno pressing a little bit.
Okay, if we're holding Geno to like quarterback wins stuff, then like, I'm not feeling awesome. But I think this is a fine thing for the Jets to do, with the idea being like, we need to see a lot or we're gonna be in a position to get a quarterback next year. I think on the whole, their free agency class is fine.
You would think this would be the time to kind of stock up a little bit more, I feel like, with them. Like, you look at the Raiders, they're spending out their ass. You look at the Titans, they're spending out their ass. I think that's the right thing to do. All right. I think we say it all the time leading up to this. It's an inefficient time of year, right? Yeah. It was better to have Jalen Phillips when he was making $5 or $6 million a year as opposed to 30 million. It just is, right? You would rather not pay that, but you have to. You have to. But at the same time, like, who were the biggest free agent signings last year? It was Milton Williams and Sam Darnold. And then those two teams were in the Super Bowl. It is a time to make your roster better. Sure. Like, if they've
made a lot of additions. I agree that they haven't gone with any of the big swings, but DeMario Davis, David Onyemata, Joseph Asai, Deshaun Wright, Kingsley Enagbare.
Okay, but like those guys aren't really going to make a difference.
Theo, the guys that you're talking about, like, the Raiders are making big moves.
Well,
they're going to have a quarterback, dude. The Titans are making big moves. They have a quarterback. The Jets don't have, like, their franchise guy.
But then why trade for Geno Smith?
Because it's like a bridge or something. Like,
but bridges never work. We hate bridge quarterbacks.
But, like, you need a quarterback. You can't run out there with Justin
Brady.
What would you have done if you were, I guess, Kyler for the minimum if you can, right? But
I don't know. I just feel like
I think you're mad at it from a Geno perspective rather than a
I
Jets
just would have gone all in around Geno, man. Like,
you want them to
I don't know.
Pierce.
Like, the Jets have a lot of money to spend. You know what I mean? Like, they have a cheap roster. They're not paying anybody. They don't have anybody good. They're losing Vera Tucker. They're losing,
and they'll get a quarterback next year. Then they'll get Arch or whoever.
I don't care. It's just like losing Simpson and Vera Tucker, and then getting like Osai and these guys. It's like, okay, you're just treading water. Like DeMario Davis and Onyemata from the Saints. Like, why are you adding 40-year-olds and Onyemata's not good?
Because they're trying to make their defense not embarrassingly bad because Aaron Glenn is trying to
save his job. But that's like bad.
Yes.
This is bad stuff.
They have Minka Fitzpatrick, who's like
true. I like yes, not a free agent, but a trade.
I think a lot of these ads are decent. Right for $3.5 million, I think is a very valid shot. He had a good year last year. Like, I don't know. I think they're a team that decided to tank last year.
Yes.
And I think they're probably not going to be good this next year because of that. I think their class is fine. I agree. Like, I probably would have rather seen them take like one or two really big wow swings or whatever.
Yeah. Or just don't lose Vera Tucker, maybe. I don't know. Like, just do something with your money. And
free agents have the choice to go where they want. And maybe they don't want to play for a team that's kind of directionless right now without.
I guess, but like, what are the Titans? I don't know. I guess they have
a quarterback.
Yeah, maybe I'm being too harsh.
And the Titans were just friends of the show.
Legend
Fiesta. It's literally like all Giants guys and all solid guys. Like, I've coached this guy last year, and now he's going to be on my new team. That's what that was. I didn't even hate their free agency class, but it was obviously like there was some pretty strong connections with most of the guys that they got there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know if you're the Jets, this free agent class screams we're going to win 3 games again next year. And like, why are we grabbing Minka and DeMario Davis at all? When that's going to be the case.
Why do anything, I guess, man? I mean, how deep do you want to take that?
The Patriots fucking spent all their money. I guess they had Drake May.
They had Drake May. Come on.
Fine. This just... All right, you guys win. It's fine.
I'm not even like that high on it. I don't really
No,
understand
maybe
it.
yeah, you're right. They were gonna.
But I can't look at the Gino trade and be like, what's the point? You know, it's like,
Well,
they just need to
you're not
build
gonna
more
go all
around
in on
Gino, bro.
why bring him in at all?
But is it a good situation? Like you're out there with Garrett Wilson in a dream.
that's my dream,
Maybe.
man.
Hey,
That's as good as it gets, in my opinion.
Like, could they
That's
not
as
have
good as it
spent
gets.
on, I don't know, like if they would have brought in, I don't know, anybody.
Hey, they still have Brees Hall, man. You're not rocking with it. It's okay. Jelani Woods.
Just fucking talk to me about Jelani Woods.
All right, man.
Does he even have a catch in his career? They just need to build it. Look, if they're gonna have an ass free agency with Demario Davis and Minka and Gino, like spend a little bit of money to give those guys like a prayer at surprising some people at the back, like end of their career. I don't know. I just don't think it jives to like keep the wallets tight and then only spend it on. We all want to see Demario Davis with a ring. We all want to see Minka with a ring. We all want to see Gino with a ring.
And they will get one when they draft Arch Manning next year.
I feel like part of the calculus here, though, could be, you don't know if Glenn's going to be around next year. In fact, if I had to ask you guys, will Aaron Glenn be the coach of the New York Jets this time next year, 2027?
Oh, absolutely not. And I guess this is the perfect off season for that, where they're spending no money, but they get enough like vets to make them think. Like,
right. Well, I think the idea here is largely like, we want to give you a chance to shape your defense and kind of like, but we don't want to invest super long term in a whole bunch of guys if we don't even know you're going to be here necessarily. Right.
Yeah.
And I think their defense, like I think they got some all right guys, but I still wonder like how good is a pass rush really going to be, and where are the star like disruptors on this defense as a whole.
I'm interested in the addition of Sweat. They traded for Jermaine Johnson. I like that a decent amount. It's like there's
sure, and I still like Minka, and I still like these unks are guys that I do still think were really hurt by horrible situations last year. Like Minka behind the worst run defense in the league, just guys messing up the worst corners in the league. Like that sucks, man. That sucks to spend a year there. And with Gino, like Ashton Genty is a crazy player and averaged less than 4 yards a carry, right? Like Gino was, a borderline top 10 guy, lost probably a half a step and was behind those lines. Like all those things kind of hitting at once makes it terrible, but I could believe in the situation getting a little bit better. So I like those things for the Jets, but why not fire Aaron Glenn then if you're going to take these like goofy year of like.
Well, they're putting him on a PIP, man.
Whatever. The Jets, why we spend too much time. The Jets are going to suck. Whether that's
who we should spend some time on?
We should spend some time on our good friend Rula. We got to keep it real and talk about mental health. It's one thing that's gotten better over the last few years is people being more open about therapy, especially for guys. There used to be this idea that you just deal with your stuff on your own, but honestly, therapy is just another tool. If something's off mentally, it makes sense to talk to someone the same way you would if something was off physically. And one thing that always stops people is how hard it can be to actually get started. You hear about long wait lists or trying to figure out insurance, and it's confusing, and lots of people just never take that first step. That's why Rula, R-U-L-A, is really interesting. Rula is a healthcare company that makes therapy easier to access. They connect you with licensed therapists and mental health professionals who fit you and, actually give you and actually fit what you actually need. And they work with most major insurance plans, so sessions can be really affordable. A lot of patients pay around $15 per session, which, using insurance, which is honestly a lot less than most everyday expenses. They've got thousands of licensed providers nationwide, and you can get matched with someone who fits you instead of guessing and hoping it works out. And often you can get started really quickly, sometimes as soon as the next day. So if therapy is something you've thought about but keep putting off, this is a simple way to get started. Thousands of guys have already started using Rula to finally get the care that they need. Don't keep putting it off. Go to rula.com/stayhot. That's all one word to get started today. That's RULA.com/stayhot to take the first step. Get connected and take control of your mental health. And while you're doing that, you can also go and build out a great new simple wardrobe with our other sponsors over at Quint. Stuff that actually works together instead of just random pieces of clothing that never match. A well-built wardrobe is really about clothes you can rely to wear year round. That's what Quince does best. Premium materials, thoughtful design, and everyday staples that are easy to wear no matter the season. Quince has a ton of essentials I like. You know, they've got organic cotton sweaters, polos you can wear anytime, lighter jackets for when the weather changes. It's just reliable stuff that looks good without overthinking. What's great is they work directly with the top factories and cut out the middlemen. So you're getting really quality clothing without paying big brand markups, and everything's built to last and still looks good season after season. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. You can go to quince.com/stayhot for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada as well. That's QUINCE.com/stayhot. Again, that's one word, stay hot. Free shipping and 365-day returns. You can't beat that. Quince.com/stayhot. We're going to hear Theo talk about our good friends over at Square later. But Matt, what did you want to talk about before I rudely interrupted you?
I mean, it was a necessary interruption. Absolutely not rude at all. But you know what I wanted to talk about. The good old Carolina Panthers.
The good guys.
Were some of the biggest movers of free agency. I guess I was a little surprised by this because you never expect it to be you.
You hope it's you, but you never expect it to be.
They didn't have like a ton of money either.
And there wasn't like a ton of noise that they were going to go be super aggressive. But they signed two really big deals. Jalen Phillips, 4 years, 120 million M's. And then Devin Lloyd, 3 years, 45 million.
The Devin Lloyd signing is huge. Well,
the Devin Lloyd signing, I don't think you have to talk many people into. He's coming off a phenomenal year where he played at a near all-pro level and was super well-rounded, right? You know, great in pass coverage, made a bunch of splash plays, really good as a blitzer, can defend the run, like all around. The Panthers off-ball linebackers were banged up last year, but also in general were one of the weakest parts of the team. And frankly, the total cost to bring him in ended up being way lower than I think anybody would have expected at just $15 million a year. And kind of surprisingly close to a lot of dudes who I don't think were nearly as complete of players last year, like Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean. I know that's to the Raiders, but they got pretty, sizable deals too, pretty close to this. So I'm absolutely pumped. The Jalen Phillips deal is the one where you have to sit and think about it for a second. Phillips is a good player. He got a lot of pressures last year, right? He was 9th in total pressures. I think he was 6th in pass rush win rate.
Shout out.
He had a good season.
He was 6th in pressures in 2022 also, I believe. So this was his second stint in the top 10.
Right. But $30 million a year is way more than people thought he was going to get. It's one of the highest contracts compared to expected contract of this free agency so far, and it's a lot of guaranteed money too. And while I think we can sit here and say for a fact that edge rusher was a big need for Carolina, and while I can talk myself into this by saying, Carolina basically had no shot with the pass rush they had last year. I mean, obviously they got to the playoffs and they had a chance against the Rams, but I mean, remember how that game ended, right? They couldn't get to Stafford on the final drive, and he just got to sit back there and pick them apart. And eventually that was going to come back to cost them. They were 30th in sacks. You can't live like that. You can't live with the edge rushers that they have. So if they didn't address it, essentially you would have to go into the next season saying, well, this will catch up with them and cost them, and there is no way around it, and there's almost no way for them to overcome it, especially if you don't really love the edge rushers in this class like I think I've gotten to the point of. But $30 million a year is really expensive. Phillips has a pretty significant injury history. He is more of a pressure maker rather than a play finisher. He's never had double-digit sacks, and he's only an all-right run defender. He's also getting the 8th most money for an edge rusher, which is partially a boost from, he just recently signed a contract, of course, but it does put him into that like elite tier 1 range. And I just don't think he's quite had, that level of play. He's very good getting elite money. So it was expensive to solve their edge rusher issues. Personally, took me about 7 minutes to talk myself into it. But
I couldn't talk myself into it until Devin Lloyd signed. Like when Jalen Phillips first signed the contract, I was like, I like Jalen Phillips a lot. It's like, it's just a bit too much without corresponding moves because, yeah, we saw the Rams march down the field on that final drive, but how much of a chance do the edge rushers really have when you can just pepper those hook zones and no one's there to stop it or make a tackle? And you can run the football and things like that. And Jalen Phillips isn't helping that issue. So then you just be paying $30 million, for definitely extra pressure, but it's Lloyd that's the force multiplier of like, he actually might be able to do something to stop some of the more underlying problems of, we can just pepper the short middle of the field and things like that. We can run the football. He's somebody who I think is in 2024, he made my list of the top 5 run defending linebackers, and then he had 5 interceptions last year. So I do think he's well-rounded. I do think he can make the upgraded edge pressure actually matter. I think Phillips is still one of the most inefficient deals signed, but I do like Jalen Phillips. He's very, very technically refined, very good with his hands. Good enough tools to be both a power rusher and somebody who gets around the edge like last year. He's a handful. And DJ Wonnum, one of the worst starters in the league, like probably spent more time on the ground last year than in the vicinity of a quarterback. So, man, it is spendy. I don't think it's a bidding war I would have won, especially considering Phillips's injury history. But I like the Lloyd deal enough, and he's making like so little money, like you said, Matt. Like, Quay Walker just never had a season
together,
like that.
And you're like, all right, that's not so bad.
Exactly. That's where I started to talk myself into it more.
4 years, 120 for Devin Lloyd and 3 years, 45 for Jalen Phillips.
Then I'd be like, damn, Devin Lloyd got a crazy contract.
Yeah, I mean, Warner was making $21 million a year, so I knew Lloyd wouldn't be that expensive because linebackers just aren't that expensive. But yeah, I think the Panthers ended up making out very well because, look, at the end of the day, the $30 million, it doesn't play on Sundays. Jalen Phillips does.
At the end of the day, money is a material thing. And
at the end of the day, Saquon Barkley played on Sundays for the Eagles, not $13 million. At the end of the day, Milton Williams played, not $106 million.
At the end of the day, Tyler Linderbaum will be playing.
At the
honestly,
end of the day,
that's exactly what I'm thinking, because it's like the Milton Williams stuff. You're like, okay, well, $26 million is too much, and I know that this isn't how it works at all. But then you turn around, and it's like, okay, well, actually, he was awesome and a huge reason why the Patriots were able to take this massive step. And it's like,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like the best contracts in the league are rookie contracts and extensions. All right, Tom Brady was a rookie contract and an extension. Patrick Mahomes was a rookie contract and an extension. Josh Allen was a rookie contract and an extension. Like, that's what you want to do, ideally. But you also got to spend your money on something. All right, you got $301 million to go play with. Rookies are cheap. So
they could give me $301 million.
I was hearing the Broncos sports radio guys in the morning talk about this. They were like, what do you think of the term, if you got better, if you didn't get better, you got worse? And they were like, of course, the Broncos have done a hell of a lot of nothing. So they're like, I don't really buy that.
Look at the one trend between all the teams that have done nothing. They all won 11 games last year.
They're like, I don't really buy that. I mean, a lot of times the best deal this time of year is the one you don't make. And like, that's true. But like, when the Chiefs sign K9 and you sign no one, like at the end of the day, the money isn't playing. K9 is playing.
You got J.K. Dobbins back from injury, man. That's even better.
You got J.K. Dobbins back.
I've seen so much disrespectful talk about J.K. Dobbins.
I like getting Dobbins back. I like it, but they didn't even like keep their whole roster together. They lost Jonathan Franklin Myers, so like they really have done a whole lot of nothing. And these radio guys, they were like, well, like when you look at Super Bowl teams, like what do you see? And they're like kind of going through like the Seahawks and the Patriots, and they're like, I don't really remember any Seahawks free agents. I'm like, no, Sam Darnold, you don't remember that? And the Patriots, they're like, ooh, who did the Patriots sign? And I was like, Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, like literally more than anybody last year.
Long Seattle Seahawk.
And then they pretended they're like, look, well, they went the year before because they realized they kind of talked themselves into a corner, and they're like, what about the year before? And it's like Saquon Barkley. You can't remember that? Like these free agents, they're 26-year-old players. You know, they're guys entering their primes in a way that rookies are not. And like, yeah, you got to spend your cap on something, and it's not your whole rookie class. Like it's just a given that you can sign your rookie class. They're so cheap. So at the end of the day, the teams that win free agency are the ones that spend money in free agency and actually get some shit to cook with. Like, you can't, if you sign someone and they blow their knee or something, like that sucks. But for the most part, like it is better to like, the winners of this free agency cycle are the Titans and the Raiders because they got the most talent. Like, if you're gonna
if I completely agree.
Well, you got it. Like, and there's efficiency. That's another way to look at it. But like, if we're thinking about what franchises are going to feel the weight of this free agent class and have it translate to wins, like it's going to be the Titans and the Raiders. Now, could they have spent their money in a different way and gotten the same effect? Like that's very, especially with the Titans, I think that's very debatable. Did they need to bring in Wan'Dale Robinson for all that? I don't really think so. But at the end of the day, like
at the end of the day, we're looking at a Panthers defense that has stars at all three.
Yes, at the end of the day, the Panthers are gonna like signing Jalen Phillips and they're gonna like signing Devin Lloyd. Like it's unless Phillips gets hurt again,
injured, then it's really tough.
True.
But in general, I'm really excited about this Panthers defense. I look at their depth chart. I see more good players than bad players who are going to be starters for us. I feel like they got so much more of a chance if they have, an edge rusher who's serious, doesn't put so much pressure on like Scorton to go and
sure
take some huge leap or whatever. Even though he wasn't bad last year, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Scorton's really good. I think Scorton's going to work out, but his pressure rate was really low last year, probably because like there's no one to help him out at all, like in the linebacker level or one of them forcing stuff into him or whatever it is.
So I'm excited about the Panthers. I was really excited that they landed Devin Lloyd, and they still got to crush the draft, of course, but I'm not surprised that I am surprised that they were making big signings, but looking back on it, I'm like, well, you had all these years where you weren't hitting on your draft picks and you got to pay somebody at a point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fair enough.
Devin Lloyd got the same contract basically as Cordell Flott. Cordell Flott actually got more guarantees. Shout out Cordell Flott, underrated player.
Yeah, not a bad player. What did you think about what the Titans did?
Yeah.
So I kind of like what they did on defense. Like, and I like that they've spent money. I really do. I think this would be
for sure
a disappointment, obviously, if they played it safe. And I think they got the best guy they could have gotten, really, for where they're at. John Franklin Myers, somebody who
I really like Franklin Myers. I like Saleh. He had to make that shift towards his defensive scheme, going from Sweat to John Franklin Myers. Obviously, does a lot of work there. And I thought they had to go grab some serious guys at corner. Yeah. Their cornerback room was a disaster last year.
Yeah, Flott and Taylor are fun. Flott's very scrappy. He's undersized, but like electric click and close guy, like some electric hips, like capable of punching way above his weight, maybe over the course of a game and over the course of a season against guys who are really good. He can start to give out a little bit, but like Cordell Flott is a dog, and I think a really good role player on a team. Kind of the same thing with Alontae Taylor, I think. Yeah. Like maybe not super consistent over the course of a career of a season or a game, but like, man, coming downhill, He's someone who's one of the top blitzers in the league, can fly and he'll kill you coming downfield. Like, just surround Jeffrey Simmons with some guys. They can go 4 wide and pin their ears back a little bit more now. It was, I think Cam Ward, I think the defense has a chance to be pretty okay now, pretty good around, because Jeffrey Simmons is just a whole planet. Wandale, coming off a much better, more efficient year last year than he did the year before when it was like all time.
It was 130 targets and like 700 yards or something horrifying.
Yeah.
Last year it was 130 targets for like 1,000 yards.
Yeah, so like maybe a neutral presence. I've never been a big Wandale fan. Like, his arms are so short and he's so small that he's just a hard target to hit downfield.
Yeah.
So his ADOT ends up being tiny.
I think he's a fine yak guy. I don't think there's any one aspect of his game where I'm like, that's going to make Cam Ward's life easier. And it's like a pretty hefty price tag. Yeah. Whereas, like, how much more would you have had to spend, like, I think Romeo Doubs or somebody like that, where it's like, I feel like they're a little bit more consistent.
Romeo Doubs is less. He's less money.
No, he was 4 years 80, right?
No,
he was 4.
There was a lot of speculation about this. The number I wrote down was that Dobbs got 17 mil a year and that Wandale got 17 and a half.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, but there's a lot of conflicting information this weekend.
Reporters need to lock it.
Romeo Doubs is 4 years, 68 million. Wandale Robinson is 4 years, 70.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, I was going to get the Dobbs contract. I think is really good for New England.
I agree.
But yeah, as far as Wandale goes, like, it is kind of funny. You've got the quarterback who is bombing it down the field under pressure, like one of the highest average depth of targets in the league, and then 3 yards ADOT, man. Like, will the two skill sets blend and like meet in the middle somewhere beautiful?
Well, I guess the hope is that
we're just never going to look at it.
Short game going with Ward.
Yeah,
I'm sure Daboll's like really focused on that. It is hilarious how many of their guys they brought in. I mean, it's only their guys.
They paid a lot for the tight end Bellinger, and Bellinger's is somewhat underrated, but I don't know if the signing needed absolutely to happen. I don't like the Wandale signing, though. I really don't.
Last year, 2022, it was 6.1, 23, 5.5, 24, 5.1. 25, it was 9.0.
It's awesome. It's going to be 16 next year, man.
He's going to have, he also had his highest yards per route run of his career.
I mean, he was good. He was a useful player. I just feel like this is artificial hand holding from Daboll for Ward a little bit. And like, this isn't the player he wants, man. Like, let him be him. And now there's a
balance you got to find with that. It can't be like, Ward, go be great. Cause then here's the thing. You're going to sit back here week 10 and then it's gonna be like, they're just asking Ward to go be great out there. They're giving him no help. And it's like, you want some of that, but you want some easy button stuff too.
You could get an easy button for less than what you paid for Wandale Robinson here, I guess.
I'm agreeing with that.
For that to be your big time play, I don't love it on offense, but on defense, I thought they did all right.
I would really like the consistent outside winner. Frankly, I'm like, so it's still Ridley as wide receiver 1 there, I guess, on the outside, right?
Yeah, and with the running back selections or the running back contracts, you think about it, they might be liking Love, and teams know that. Like, the Chiefs signed K9, that was a big Love team. The Saints were a big Jeremiah Love team. They signed ETN. Are they thinking? I guess we don't know what they're thinking. They're either thinking we don't want to spend the 8th on Love or the 9th on Love, or they're thinking Love will be gone. Love will be gone at 4 to the Titans.
I'm leaning very heavily for either Love or Tate or Tyson or Lemon. One of those.
Tate makes a lot of sense.
Tate makes
Titans
a lot
still.
of sense schematically, I think, more so. But I do still like Lemon better as a general player. So,
yeah.
Who else
do you guys want to get into
Chiefs?
Next? Yeah, they let their whole secondary walk, but they signed K9.
Theo, you've been talking about this kind of to no end. The whole Chiefs and Rams secondary debacle of the Chiefs
The
last
swap.
year. They swapped, man.
I mean, I think it could dictate the Super Bowl. What has happened?
I was planning on making a video. Easily the biggest thing that's happened this offseason so far is that the Rams secondary is completely different in terms of Super Bowl odds. Like, it's not even close. It's the most important thing that's happened.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, the Chiefs were one of the best teams in the league against receivers last year. They were top 5 when quarterbacks targeted wide receivers guarded by corners. They were 5th in yards per attempt, and the Rams were 27th, right? That was the Rams' main issue, was they had a bunch of traffic cones playing receiver or playing corner. And when it came time to guard JSN, no one could do it. Now they've got a physical guy, and they've got a guy with great movement skills in McDuffie, and they've still got the 13th overall pick.
Yeah.
And Pierce is in jail. It's a fleece. It's a move that is a legendary move. Like in terms of it being one-sided, like the Rams are still going to make an incredibly high pick. They've got the fighters already who can go give them a better chance in the secondary this year. Like, and the Chiefs, like, I get that they got good return, and I like what they did in free agency outside of who they lost a lot. I think the Tonga deal is really good for them.
Yeah,
I love I love everybody that they signed.
Yeah,
it just is offset by the fact, like, who are your corners now in the middle of?
Well, I mean, I guess their whole big thing is that they don't value corners, but like at a point, we're not exactly running Blaiden Kirk out there and making it work, right? You gotta.
Well, you're a wide receiver, Blaiden, so don't act so offended.
Yeah, it's just you're just a bad fit in their scheme, bro. Nothing against you.
Yeah, we know you could do it.
I could.
You're a wide
yes,
receiver.
That's true. If I needed to, of course. But yeah, I agree. I like a lot of the moves. I mean, the Ken Walker move. We've talked about this as well. Matt, you called it, dude.
Well, I don't think it was that deep of a cut, because we know they'd been interested in running backs like this and big moves, and K9 just was the cheapest of any of them by a lot in terms of giving up a first round pick for Devon Achane. Look, he's the best player in the league, but he is a running back, and it's incredibly tough to pay that unless you're like right on the doorstep, I guess is how a lot of teams would look at it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think K9 is going to bring explosive runs, and I think 15 million is about what I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not want to be a defensive player looking at the Chiefs' backfield and seeing Mahomes and K9 and feeling like, damn, they're about to make me miss.
This like triple option RPO they're going to do where they send Kelsey in motion. You got a mesh point with Mahomes and K9. And then he's either going to hand it off or like flip it to Kelsey. And you're just like their goal line offense is going to be like almost impossible to stop, I feel like.
That's yeah.
But the big thing with K9 that kind of came back to me was like, dude, Seattle's another team that's lost a lot.
They lost Woolen, they lost K9, and that's a lot of athleticism to lose for sure. And they kind of prioritized
and
Mafe. Yeah,
and
true.
Bryant. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, I mean, people always talk about the Super Bowl hangover for the losing team, but when you're a team like Seattle, where it is kind of, at the end of everyone's tenure there, it's like, yeah, you got it done. But it's, you gotta find a way to get back,
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to repeat, of course. How many teams have ever done it? But yeah, I mean, I think personally, I may have prioritized Woolen and K9 over Shaheed and Job.
I was kind of surprised Shaheed got the money that he did.
Yeah, he's one of the more expensive free agents for sure. 17 million a year. Again, compared to Dobbs, I think Dobbs is better than Shaheed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The good news for the Seahawks, I think, is there's no position group that you can point to and say like, oh, well, everybody's gone. I think like,
sure.
Yeah,
it's not. So there's still like, okay, it sucks to lose K9, but like he was in a timeshare last year anyway. He did go off in the playoffs for sure. He was great in the playoffs, but over the course of the entire season, his playoff value does not match. And with Woolen, like Job was on the other side. There's still Witherspoon there. Yep. They were the number one team against wide receivers last year. Job was part of that. Like the secondary,
they still have Imamori. They still have Love.
I don't know if they're going to be, maybe it happens in the corner room, but I just don't know if they're going to be in a situation like the Eagles were after losing Sweat.
I completely agree. I do think they lost a lot of guys, but you can at least sit down and say, like, Mafia got a ton of money, and, K9, he's had his injury issues in the past, and maybe they just wanted to avoid a big contract, and maybe they just don't value running back, which it's an understandable position, and you can make work if you can find somebody else in the draft. But you definitely don't come out of free agency feeling like they're necessarily better right at this moment when you lose a bunch of good players, right? And they had a lot of money to spend, I thought, and have been super conservative.
Sure.
They haven't really gone out.
Could a trade be out there is kind of what I'm thinking, because they do have $42 million in cap space left. That's the 7th most in the league right now, according to
and I feel like
Track.
They haven't been a heavy restructured team. Like if they said we're going to run it back, bring more of our guys back, or even if they said like
42,
we want to go be crazy and try to like go pick up another big free agent, like we're talking about with like Lloyd or something like that, you figure they'd be a premier destination, right? Coming off a Super Bowl and whatever with enough to spend, but I guess not.
Yeah, it is looking. It is sad, but you knew that you were going to lose some people. You didn't lose anybody. Right. And they have a lot of flexibility for the future. They have a lot of flexibility for a trade. Maybe these are deals that, next year they bring in, I don't know, whoever the top free agent is next year. They probably are going to have the resources to go do something like that.
But that money doesn't play on Sunday.
It doesn't play on Sunday. It does not. But who knows? They got a lot of guys they need to extend, JSN and whatnot, front load those deals, maybe
and you can
contend over a larger window. I don't know. Woolen really is nice. He's saving the Eagles free agency right now, getting him for cheap. Like his numbers, his metrics were elite as a rookie, and they've kind of remained elite since then. Like there has never been a point where Woolen is actually getting picked on over and over and over again. Maybe there's some dumb penalties, there's some dumb moments, but for a corner 2 situation, him and Quinion, that's great.
With corners though is I agree with you on Woolen. I'm not trying to make a knock on him. It's just like in the public eye, those moments stick out.
That's very true. And the Seahawks played in a bunch of high profile games. And I do think a little bit of the calculus is that Woolen was in Sauce Gardner conversations after the rookie year, and he is not Sauce Gardner.
But he, like a lot of the metrics, like put him in those conversations. That's how much of a crazy steal he is. That's how much of a crazy steal he is that Sauce costs 2 first-round picks and $30 million a year. And Woolen is 1 year, $15 million prove-it deal. Like, it is wild how different those contracts are. Now, Sauce isn't late to meetings. He's not maybe making... Some penalties are worse than others. Some mistakes are worse than others on the field. And Woolen really did have a cardinal sin in the NFC Championship game.
That was rough.
It was rough. So, like, I understand the team culture being like, we're not going to bring you back, bro. Like, you're not taking this seriously. I don't care what your talent is. Like, we want people who take this seriously.
I agree. Woolen for 15 is a good contract. And I'll say this. I don't know if it's always the best analysis to pull this card, but I do trust Mike McDonald with the defense.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a Seahawks fan and you're saying he's got us, like the way he built that thing up, I'm trusting his personnel decisions, I'm having a hard time arguing.
Yes, I agree that you can kiss the ring a little bit here. Like, I'm disappointed that Reek Woolen is gone and K9 is gone. I would have gone the other direction, but they know what they're doing. They won the Super Bowl and they made the decisions they made, and they still have so much flexibility to
Well, I think, and I
do
think even
something
more
else.
specifically, McDonald's just can very consistently over the course of his career made good personnel decisions when it comes to building defenses.
Yes.
So I think I got a level of faith on him, even if I disagree with a couple of the moves.
Yeah, no, I would not be hitting the panic button or anything. But of course, K9 was a legendary player with a Super Bowl MVP, right? So
that playoff run was insane.
You should be sad, and I do think him behind Trey and Creed and Simmons, like
that's gonna be nice.
Could get fire.
They might have to. Him and Mahomes might have a complete carry job.
They'll get it done. Do you guys want to talk about the New York Giants?
Yeah, I could talk about them a little bit.
Isaiah Likely lands here. I feel like that's a really good move for them. That was a guy that I was pretty shocked to see leave Baltimore, considering like the level of blocker that he is, on top of the level of receiver that he is. I feel like he made a lot of big plays more recently than Mark Andrews has, but they just love Mark Andrews over there in Baltimore. So I guess they're keeping him forever. Like, he's going to get a statue there. But I thought Isaiah Likely was a really good pickup for the Giants. And then I saw a couple hours ago, they re-signed Evan Neal.
Oh, that's big time.
Oh, that's huge. That's the biggest move of the offseason, some would say. But
I think their offseason's been fine so
where do
far.
I have them graded?
Getting a handful of, Ravens guys or whatever. Illuminor back at 3 years, $39 million is good. Yep. 19 pressures allowed last season is a nice mark, and it can be tough to get those, outside guys back for what you feel like are good value deals. So that's nice. Greg Newsome on the 1 year, I'm not super moved by. Likely for, an F tight end, 3 year, $40 million, coming off a not great year, albeit with the foot problem. Is not like insane value, but I know they love Likely. And
I love Likely, dude.
I guess they're going to run a lot of 12.
Yeah, because Likely and Theo Johnson is a weird tight end duo. I feel like when you think about 12, you're thinking one of them is like a really elite inline blocker, and you're putting them on a wing and running stretch to the 12 side. And I think about Theo Johnson and Isaiah Likely as like your 12 personnel all the time guys. It's a lot of like vertical juice there. Mm-hmm. for it being 12 personnel. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because I like both of those guys in those roles. It's just a strange offense build, but it is John Harbaugh. You're probably getting in Jackson Dart Cam Scatterbo. You have the opportunity to do a lot of strange things. So I'm excited to see what on earth this offense looks like, because there's a chance it looks like absolutely nothing else in the league right now.
The Newsome signing to me is like totally nothing. The Jags traded Tyson Campbell for Greg Newsome, and it's immediately just like a disaster.
I like getting Micah McFadden back. He's somebody that I thought about as an underrated player going into the year, and then he hurt his foot and was out all year. But he is a screaming demon downhill. And not a total nothing in coverage, I feel like. So he's someone who may be flying a bit under the radar as someone who kind of improved a little bit, maybe on the verge of a breakout, and then got hurt, and now you get him back for really, really cheap. Him and Tremaine Edmonds should be a much better situation than what they were running last year when they were the worst run defense in the league. So I'd be excited. I'd be most excited about that, I think, if I was a Giants fan, is getting that linebacker room situated. Yeah. And then
Edmonds wasn't bad for the Bears. Like, he wasn't the absolute worst.
No, he's always been a little bit a more fun idea than actual player. But I thought he had a good year last year. Like, he caused a bunch of havoc in the throwing lanes, like a bunch of big turnover plays. He may have had his best season from that standpoint. I don't know if it'll translate exactly one for one, all those havoc plays, but he was good for the Bears last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we want to talk about a few individual moves that we haven't talked about. Tua, Mike Evans, Alec Pierce. But Theo, I need to hear about our good friends over at Square first.
Yes. Support for today's episode comes from Square, and they've got big news. During Square's biannual releases event, they launched a new wave of innovative new tools to help local businesses run faster, smarter, and more profitably. From AI that answers your toughest business questions to tech that simplifies food orders and tracks every dollar, it's all live and it's built for businesses like yours. Whether you're starting fresh or scaling fast, Square helps you keep up and get ahead. And right now, listeners can get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/stay-hot. Imagine listening to a podcast and making $200. That's square.com/go/stay-hot. Visit Square to get started because the right tools make all the difference. You know, Jordan's Deli just opened up down the street. Wait, not down the street from me, across town from me. I was getting a sandwich there and I checked out and there it was, the Square logo on their chip reading machine. So I know that they started their business with Square and you can too. So I'm going to get a business around here. I got the Square machine. I notice it all the time since doing this ad read. But yeah, they launched their most powerful tools yet. That's probably why they're everywhere. And they are designed to give local businesses a competitive edge without the complexity. So if you're ready to sell smarter, run faster, and stress less, right now you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/stay-hot. That's SQUARE.com/GO/STAYHOT. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today.
And you can also get started today with some SPARK energy, but we got to talk about energy for a second. You know, we've all got busy schedules here recording the podcast. I've got my band, I've got work outside of this, everything else is going on. But the funny thing is, you know, everyone knows I don't drink caffeine, but you know who does? My girlfriend. And she's been the one using Stay Hot's newest sponsor, Spark Energy. And honestly, she really likes it. She'll mix it up either in the morning or before a workout. She's training for a half marathon, and she loves that it gives her that steady energy without feeling jittery or crashing later. Spark has 120 milligrams of caffeine for alertness and focus, but it's also balanced with amino acids and taurine, so it's smoother than a lot of typical energy drinks. It's also zero sugar and includes things like B vitamins, I can't talk today. B vitamins, L-carnitine, and choline to help support energy metabolism and mental focus. So it's not just about caffeine. It's built to support energy and clarity throughout the day. She's also a big fan of the flavors. They're bold and actually taste good, so I've heard, which makes it easy to work into a daily routine. Spark Energy and Focus is offering 30% off plus free shipping. So you can go ahead to drinkspark.com and use the code STAYHOT at checkout. Again, you can use the code STAYHOT at drinkspark.com. We've already talked about Malik Willis. Should we talk about Tua?
I don't have that much to say about Tua.
I mean, he signed a $1 million hand up.
Okay.
He signed $1 million contract. The Ravens, not the Ravens, the other bird team, the Falcons, they're also doing a whole lot of nothing in free agency. Signing Jahan Dotson on day one of free agency. All right. Signing Tua. All right.
Yeah.
So like, I wouldn't be happy if I was a Falcons fan and I'd feel like, well, why is this going to be a better team than it is last year? But like signing Tua for a minimum, the problem is Tua on a maximum. Like that was the problem with Miami and why things fell apart. If he was on a minimum, things would be a lot different. So,
yeah, like the Falcons have just like you signed Kirk Cousins and that didn't work out. Penix, hasn't been great up to this point, and you traded your first round pick this year for a guy who, like again, got arrested. So you've kind of made a lot of moves that have put you into a bad situation.
They're fucked generally. Tua is the least of their concerns.
Right.
Like,
I realized that as I after I've put it down, it's like, well, I might not have been the guy that I would have gone for because, like, the combined injury history of him and Penix are insanely bad.
And Cousins. Like, you just throw all
Cousins got cut.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a question on who will win the quarterback battle out of Tua and Penix, and of course it will be Penix. But
I think it was Mina Kimes. It was like, have Penix throw the outbreakers and the routes down the sideline, and then have Tua come in for the inbreakers and and the quick stuff over the middle. But that is kind of, this does kind of feel like,
should do that.
To some extent, Tua does feel like a Kevin Stefanski quarterback. Like, he does kind of just like his turrets. Like, he doesn't want guys to do stuff outside of his scheme, really. Like, I think he would want that at some point, but I think for like a first year, I could see a world where Tua wins the job, just because like the timing stuff has always been there for him for the most part.
For sure. I mean, there's a world where Tua at $1 million is like a bit of a steal when you look at his past production. Like, if he were to come in and have all the same limitations that he did in Miami, but kind of have the same strengths as well, like, there is a world where, like, yeah, he outperforms $1 million contract. There's also a world where there's always a world where he gets another concussion, and it's just, you don't like to think about that. But yeah, I feel like the Falcons have just been poverty for a couple off seasons now, and this off season they just can't do anything that's like actually very exciting because of that.
Right.
Shout out Penix and Tua, probably the worst rushing quarterback tandem that we've seen in a while and will see again for quite some time.
Somebody's going to have that stack in the 32-team league. That's honestly the first thing that I thought of.
Oh my God. That's a crazy meta.
Or potentially someone will go for it and take Tua and then miss on like getting Penix, or miss on the other way around, because someone will snipe Tua from them and then send them like a horrifyingly lopsided
that is a horrible thought. I had not thought about the 32-team fantasy league in a minute, but because inherently with the league, someone will have to stack Tua and Michael Penix.
Oh, dude,
they're gonna have to draft. They're gonna have to draft.
They're gonna have to draft the third quarterback on that team too, man. I'm figuring.
And who is that? Who's that right now?
I have no idea. They might not even have one.
They don't have one. I mean, technically, they don't even have Tua yet on the. Right, I'm sure they do because it went official today, but it's not on the ESPN's depth chart.
The ESPN depth chart. Wow.
Desmond Ridder, Demon Ridder, still has a starting job for him.
Matt Corral, baby. So
we all like Ridder. We all hate Matt Corral.
Ridder, but not for Corral.
That's exactly it.
I'm still pissed.
That's exactly right, Blaiden.
I'm still pissed the Packers played Clayton Tune over Ridder on that fateful week.
No, that does suck.
That fateful week 18 game.
They didn't know people would still be clenching their jaw in March about that decision.
They did. We could have had Ridder handing off to Damian Martinez in an all-time agenda backfield, and instead we had Clayton Tune handing off to Emmanuel Wilson, and Tune had -7 yards on the day, and Wilson had a run where he ran straight backwards for quite some time and lost 18 yards on the single carry.
Say what you want about Martinez and Ridder.
Martinez, that would not have happened.
Ridder would have
had at least
yards. Martinez,
you would have had at least a double-digit net passing yards, and you wouldn't have lost 18 yards on a single carry.
Facts.
And the Packers could have had it all, and they let it slip through their fingertips. And they're also just losing. I'm crashing out about the Packers, bro.
Okay, well let's hit the Packers. There's some other stuff we're gonna get into. It'll be a long episode, but what did you think? We got to do Packers and Browns, of course.
Sure, the Packers. I mean, they just have not. Okay, let's put it this way. After they cut Jenkins, the Packers beat was like, they didn't have to do that. Is something big coming? Like, are they clearing up cap space for a big move? I'll just let that sit in space for a second.
No, bro. I know that. I just know that from knowing you, Theo.
No, they're available, man.
Look, I feel like with the Packers, I've got to remind myself how many important players got hurt last year and how many are coming back. But just letting Willis and Jenkins and Wooden and who's the other big, and Dobbs, of course, all walk. And then really only replacing it with Javon Hargrave, who could really be a disaster signing, I feel like. We need a nose tackle. We have a 3 technique in Wyatt. We have Brooks. We have Mike, obviously. We need a big boy who can really eat double teams. And Hargrave is just the opposite of that, like the complete and total opposite of that. He's terrible in that role, like throwing money away if that's your nose tackle solution. And all they've done is sign him to a over $20 million contract, not per year total. And then trade for Zaire Franklin, who's just like a complete burrow your head in the gap and hope that the running back is there type guy. And it's like, could we not have just kept Wooden, that is, and not signed Hargrave and like had somebody who can get upfield and not stop the run? Like, I just don't like how they've handled the D line.
They're playing the comp pick game. Obviously,
they are. Obviously, right? They are.
I mean, Wooden, I don't know, whatever.
He's not good. He's not good.
He was part of the problem last year.
Sure, but is Franklin part of the solution? Like the trade is just like, all right.
No, I don't.
Going problem for problem. I don't know.
Yeah, I just rolled my eyes at that. But like clearly, the reason why they're not going to make a big move is because they're saying, "Oh my God, we got Willis in, and we got some good play out of him, and now we're going to get like a super serious comp pick for him." Which will be like a 3rd, probably a 4th rounder, I would.
Right, it's super serious. Like
it could be
as serious as a comp pick.
It depends. It depends because Willis got a pretty sizable contract.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping it's a 3rd. It could be a 3rd
because there's what, like 4 thirds that usually go. So he would have to be in the top 4 contracts of teams that didn't bring back their own guy, or then like if the other teams didn't also sign another big player that would then cancel that. I mean, you know how the comp pick thing would work.
Yeah.
It could be a 3rd. It's not impossible. So I understand them playing for that, but then what happens is that you limit yourself in terms of any free agent additions to like just guys who got cut. And that's how you end up with Javon Hargrave, right? Where it doesn't really make sense for the needs of the team.
But he was my nightmare. He was my nightmare nose tackle. I was like, please, anybody but him. Like Roy Lopez. Give me Roy Lopez. I love Roy Lopez. As a cheap nose tackle solution who played under Gannon and was good under Gannon. Like, yeah, that was my dream. Dalvin Tomlinson, fine, whatever, sure. Like Hargrave is like, he's not a nose tackle. So unless you're planning on, I guess now what I'm excited about is the idea of a front that just twists and stunts and blitzes and walks around and there is no nose tackle because they're just playing some brand of football that just has never been played before, which with Gannon's kind of amoeba style blitzing that he did in Arizona, like maybe he's got some crazy trick up his sleeve, but yeah, I play in the comp pick game. It's cool. The Chargers are doing the same thing, but it's like
the Chargers have so much money to spend.
I know.
I really didn't get that.
I know.
I'm really not a fan of it when you got that type of cash.
When you got that type of cash.
I guess the Seahawks are doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. I mean, look, I understand that comp picks are the meta, but I'm not liking how the hot dog is made here. You know what I'm saying?
I think so. No, if I was the Chargers, I would have rather have sent the Godfather.
The Chargers are in like a totally different world, I feel like, honestly, where they made like $80 million point blank and they're not.
Yes, they're not using it.
And they're a team that really is like a big offensive line signing and like a big receiver addition away from being super exciting on offense, where you're like, wow, it's really fleshed out. And of course, there's the draft still, so I don't want to overreact or whatever.
I heard they were in on Pierce, and I heard that Pierce turned down more money to stay in Indianapolis, which would make sense because of tax situations and moving sucks. And so maybe you can't, and that would have been my dream for the Chargers, is that could be the Pierce team with Herbert. That has just been an underwhelming efficiency offense, even though you have this quality quarterback, just because You feel like the spacing has been bad under Roman. The pass protection has been bad. Pierce can't change all of those things with one, fell swoop, but he can, space the field, and he can pick up explosive plays at a higher rate than anybody else. And it's not like Quentin Johnston would have no trade value after the season he just had. He just had his best year. So like you could recoup some value there. That's what I was like kind of dreaming of with the Chargers, and it didn't happen. But yeah, they're weird. Game in the comp pick system, not picking up as many offensive linemen as you'd expect. Although I do really like the Biotish deal for them. Like upgraded center makes sense. Cool. That was good. And Kolar too. Like I like Biotish and Kolar.
I guess they did make I guess they're not really gaming the comp picks that much if they did sign multiple guys.
Yeah, Biotish, Kolar, Ingold.
Like, yeah, those guys are gonna cost them. I like the Biotish pickup too.
I think Biotish was one of the more underrated signings and one of the best signings overall, honestly. But it just, they could have gone out and transformed.
I thought they were going to be, there's like a lot of teams that like had a good chunk of money, and they were the one where it's like, man, they're in the playoffs.
And it's really 2 off seasons in a row where it's been this way. Like last year they had money, and what was it? It was Najee Harris and Jackson and Mekhi Becton, and it's like, really? Like,
time, man.
You could go win the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know. You could go win the AFC, win the division, something cool. And like, you're biding your time. They're still biding their time. Like, when is the shoe gonna drop here? Like, when is it gonna be?
They're waiting.
Oh, they trade for AJ Brown. They trade for
out of his prime. Once Herbert's old and decrepit, then
right now. That's why Herbert sold in the wild card round.
He's trying to trick them.
He's trying to trick them into getting him more help.
Exactly.
Instead, they just made his grind harder. I don't know. I mean, it could be cool if like I said, Kolar and Biotish are cool pieces for their run game, but
their offensive line is still going to be so much better, basically, no matter what, as long as everybody doesn't get injured.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't have a guard, that's okay. The Dolphins they had the worst guard tandem in the league last year.
We'll see the draft. I still think you're going to end up looking back and saying their offense is basically completely transformed from where it was last year. Granted, their passing offense, like overall, was really not that efficient, but it
was because they got killed every play.
If they make like 2 good draft picks, we'll be like, oh.
Yeah, we'll see. And I guess if you have this much money, you're just never going to lose anybody. Like, you're never going to be like, goodbye. Like, you just re-sign our own guys every time.
Yeah.
Give Herbert a raise.
They have all this money to pay Herbert more.
Give Herbert some stock options. And
They're stockpiling money for Herbert's third deal.
Herbert's bonus, bro. So, is this going to go super crazy on social media? They're going to make an awesome video about it. It's going to be sick.
They are going to make an awesome video about it. That's.
Do you guys have any biggest winners and biggest losers?
I didn't really do it like winners and losers. I just went point to point.
Do you have anything that really offended you? Do you have anything that you saw signed and was like, ooh, that's terrible? Like that's the worst thing that's happened.
Terrible. Well, I try to sit back and ask myself if, I'm the one being crazy with some of this. You hated the Chubb. You hated the Chubb. That's what you're trying to get at. You hated the Chubb thing, right?
That might be my answer. I think I've calmed I crashed out when it first hit the timeline. And now I'm like, okay, maybe it's not quite an all-time bad mistake, but I still don't like it. That was the one that made me crash out, because why are you, as the Bills, giving a 3-year deal to Bradley Chubb? $29 million a year to Bradley Chubb. Like Bosa, did Bosa work out for them this year? I'd say kind of no in the end, with his disastrous playoff run, disastrous play after the injury. He started out good, but he ended so bad where it's like, wow, he really did not help us in our goal of winning the Super Bowl. You are thankful that Joey Bosa was on a 1-year contract, $12 million. Then you turn around and you give Bradley Chubb a 3-year deal worth up to $52 million, $29 million guaranteed. That's more than K9. That's more than Devin Lloyd. Oh, oh, but he's an edge rusher, and those guys are linebackers and running backs. They're 26 years old players coming off an all-pro season and a Super Bowl MVP season.
People are, look, the over-optimization of positional value, it's starting to become a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Chubb being an edge does not justify like, oh, we have to pay him $29 million. He tore his ACL 2 years ago. His pressure rate was lower than Bosa's last year. There are still guys out there like Cameron Jordan and Vaughn, and like, look, you can get those guys for 1 year way cheaper. And Cameron Jordan plays 16 games every single year and had 10.5 sacks last year. Like, if you're the Bills and you have limited cap space and you're trying to find these veteran mercenaries, like, why are you committing to them like with any kind of long-term money? I don't know. It's like, this is a 1 year thing. This is a one night stand that they need to be doing. And this, I really didn't understand giving Bradley Chubb like as much as they did.
It's proposing to your one night stand in Vegas.
Proposing? Yeah.
Is that what this is? Theo?
What if we made this a 2 year, maybe not proposing, but like we should try to make this work.
It's getting married in Vegas and
yeah, it's this goes on for a year longer than it should, 2 years longer than it should. So I just didn't understand. I feel like, I don't know. You're thankful that Bosa's on a 1 year contract. Why are you turning around and giving Chubb 2 when there's, on top of the like giving a second for DJ, and it's just like, man, y'all need to lock in. Brandon Beane needs to lock the fuck in. This has been just they've had the worst offseason, I think. They have had the worst offseason. But
I would not disagree with you there.
They didn't lose anybody crazy. I mean, they lost some secondary pieces like Tehran and
they lost Edwards to the Saints, who have had a
true. They did
free agency themselves.
Yep. Edwards, I forgot about.
Edwards and ETN, when their running back situation was really bad, and I think overall their run game was super inefficient last year. You look at their offensive line; if they can get 100%, you can feel pretty good.
Yeah. I like what the Saints
at the end of the year. I think the Saints are headed in the right direction. Unfortunately, of course.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think about the Osa trade?
I think it's
two teams that are looking for something very different out of their.
What did you think of it? I thought too much. So, what did you think?
I think personally, I don't like paying big money to a player who I think has such a core flaw, I guess, with the run defense and a big fellow defensive tackle. Now, the 49ers prefer those type of guys, of course, like they have for a while. And the Cowboys have been freaking out about their run defense for like going on a year now.
Yeah, and they brought in someone from Philly. So the mentality is like, we need Jordan Davis, not Osa Davis. Right. So a scheme fit to a scheme fit, and the Cowboys end up getting the third. I don't think it's
bad. I don't think it's bad either. I just thought it was. I thought it was interesting.
Quinnen makes whoever's defensive tackle next to Quinnen Williams, like, and if it's Kenny Clark, like, yeah, that's fine. Like, you have Quinnen Williams, he's gonna draw the double and beat the double. Like, you can draft Osa Odighizuwa's tools. You can draft an Arenas Peebles or whoever is the equivalent in this year's draft to get up the field, you know? So I think it's solid from the Cowboys. I don't think that's going to really kill them. I think the Cowboys, their offseason in general so far, I don't think it's been that bad. It hasn't been great.
Yeah, it hasn't been like awe-inspiring, but they haven't done anything horrifying. All right.
Trading a fourth for Gary after he announced he was going to get cut and the Packers made him delete it is maybe a little bit suboptimal, but I don't know. Gary's probably a little overhated by Packers fans right now.
Last time Jerry Jones was optimal.
I don't know.
So,
but
I do like Mike Evans in San Francisco though.
That was a weird fit to me because I think of San Francisco.
I completely agree, except for the fact that he's old and coming off an injury.
Yeah, that's about right. But I think of San Francisco, I think of that like run the inbreaker and catch and run. And for the other routes, we have Ricky Pearsall.
Maybe they decided that they've had enough.
They want, an outside gravity guy, sort of, contested mismatch dude. Like, yeah, I can see it, but I thought the fit was strange as well. I agree.
Yeah, I think Pearsall can do a lot of those things. Maybe he's not the contested catch guy that Evans is. In fact, I know that he's not.
Right.
But he can win on the Evans routes. But how useful is that? I think of Evans as a fade ball guy, a go ball guy, and like I don't think of Purdy as that. Like Purdy's not a go ball thrower at all.
Right.
Well, you have to assume that's what they're looking for. There's no way they're sitting here saying we're bringing in 33, 32-year-old Mike Evans, and we're like we're changing his whole scheme. I mean, like when he's on. The thing is, in 2024, he was incredibly good.
Oh yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player. I don't think they got someone bad.
He's coming off of an injured season that was, analytically his worst by a lot, honestly. And like, I do think with these type of moves, like we saw Devontae Adams, right? I feel like everybody was low on that. I wasn't that high on it. People are low on it for fantasy too, is honestly part of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then it turns out like, you can get too low on those vet guys and they can still have a lot of juice in the tank. And Evans has been so consistent for so long. Well, Adams was not coming off of, quite the season that Evans is right now, for sure. I don't want to make a one-to-one comparison, but at the same time, it's just like the 49ers issues for so long have been, they're very old and they're very injury prone. Now, if it really is like electrical signals,
it's not
getting into the player's muscles. Well, we don't know.
The fact that like people are actually buying that is so sad.
The fact that people have a strong opinion about it when we just don't know is.
Fuck, dude. They're fucking beat reporters. Like, it is concerning. That shit has always been there, bro. Y'all haven't always been like that.
It's the NFL. You look into everything, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. God, it's so stupid.
Look, and then it's like, dude, it might be electrical.
We signed Mike Evans last time. We
for Christian McCaffrey. We're like, we don't know what's happening.
We signed Mike Evans in a year where Mike Evans had such a depressing year last year because he had his hamstring injury and then he like came back and got like the even worse hamstring injury, and like the optics of him leaving the field at the end of the year was like especially bad. Like, I was like, dude, this just might be it for Mike Evans. Like, he's still good, but I almost feel like we're seeing his body break down. And now he's got the electrical signal. And it's not a scheme.
Now the computers are after him. It's not good, man.
Hey, did you guys feel like electrocuted when we were in San Francisco?
Well, we didn't get that close to the fields,
We had to be on the field.
I don't know. I mean, Mike Evans is really good, and I'm concerned he's really good when he's healthy. I'm concerned also for this from a scheme fit perspective in San Francisco, but it also sucks for Tampa Bay to lose him because he is a scheme fit there. He is a repertoire with Baker, and he has always taken less money to kind of stay around. And now these days he's like, yeah, that's over.
He's very much a situation guy. He wants to go and compete and be competitive. There was big points made about how like that was his vision, which I respect.
Right. But what does that mean what does that say about the Buccaneers,
Yeah, he sees the writing on the wall, man.
He knows Baker is ass. The evidence is overwhelming.
For Des Johnson and Ibuka. I get it.
Yeah.
He heard MVP and he knew
with Tez Johnson.
He knew who that was really about.
He says Tez Johnson's going to take my job and roll. Wow, I'm out of here.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's bad for the Buccaneers to lose him, and then it's not bad for the 49ers to sign him. I just don't know if that's the number one place I would have selected.
There's just a limit on how injury prone you can make yourself.
He has been
old you
before last year. He was like the most durable player ever.
Okay, but then it's like, before last year he wasn't like 33 years old with hamstring issues, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the thing is that if you roll the dice enough, how much like of course every team gets injured and some teams are just like that, but like, man, I don't know. If
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah,
49ers,
I
I would
feel
want to get younger. Are there any other moves that you guys want to hit?
I want to say that I really like what Washington did.
Yeah.
I think Washington has put themselves in a position to compete again with Jaden Daniels next year. I just really like the Tim Settle signing. I really liked the Leo Chanel signing.
Mm-hmm.
Those two especially stand out to me as like great moves from them. I mean, they were really cheap. How much were they? They were with
Chanel was 3 years, 24.75 million.
Yeah.
It was 3 years, 24 million up to 25 and a half.
So 48 million combined between the two of them. That's like a year of Daniel Jones, Tim Settle, and Leo Chanel. And I think those were really good pieces for some really good championship caliber defenses, basically. And they fell off the tree, and you picked them up on the down low. They are great run defenders. They can penetrate. They knock you back, man. And along with Deron Payne, that starts to become 3 really good role players on the line. Now, they also probably overpaid for Odafe Owe, but they have a shit ton of money to fucking spend, and he's got the first step. He's got a little bit of speed to power to him. He was really, really useful for LA last year. Like, I can understand you got all this money to throw around, throwing it at Owe combined with these other two. Matt, what are you drawing?
I'm just doing a swirl.
You need a quieter pen.
All right, my fault.
You need a smooth ballpoint. What writing utensil is that? What
pencil?
Is that?
Mechanical pencil. Green.
We need a Stay Hot like pen or pencil sponsor, and it's like this is the dead silent pen, insulated pen.
So when you're like scribbling closed fists on your notepad, nothing while your co-host is sucking. You won't ruin the podcast.
You won't ruin the podcast.
We can hear the swishing. It is funny, but we can hear it.
All right, Manny, you're gonna have to cut.
No, it's
some of the swishing. I'm sorry.
The swishing. They also gave Laramie Tunsil $60 million with 52.5 fully guaranteed.
That's fine. Throw the money around. Like, this is your Patriots off season where like, yeah, throw the money around and let's get good quickly. But you got Jaden Daniels, and you know that Jaden Daniels is good when he's healthy. So yep. I feel like Washington could come in and be a much better defense last year if they draft than they were last year if they draft well. And they also grabbed Chigakonkwo, who's the only free agent of the top signees who's been available for every game possible in his career, 100% rate. And he's a fun little underneath, make you miss yak guy. So I don't know. I just thought they made a lot of great signings, I think. Owe, a bit of a overpay, but we already established that money doesn't play in Sunday and exactly. On Sundays, and they had the money to give to him. So
yep.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah. Sure.
Would you rather be, in terms of football situation, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, or Joe Burrow?
Oh my God. They're really not getting any rings.
It's insane. They're ruining lives. And like everybody from this era is getting nothing, bro.
I think I might almost pick Herbert.
I think so too.
Which is
kind of think so too.
Crazy.
Okay, let's think about it.
You can't say this though, because then when they lose in the playoffs, you have to be able to say that it's not his fault.
Okay, well let's think
this clip. Yeah.
Let's think for a second. It's definitely not Burrow. I'd say the front office is just so unserious. He's got great receivers. So that's something. Like if you want the receivers, if you're trying to get drafted high in fantasy.
I mean, they've missed how many drafts in a row, and they can't like give out guaranteed money to
and they're like genuinely the poorest teams by such a ridiculous margin. It's insane.
Yeah, football is really devoid of like a Dodgers A's situation, like kind of with the exception of the Bengals of like this organization. His offense has gotten much better, and I think the line is in its best situation yet. So like that's the argument you want to make if you want to go with Burrow is like, look, Chase and Higgins and the offensive line improving and Chase Brown, like you got a puncher's chance with that. It's such a better offense than what anybody else has. But like, yeah, they're throwing a brick after brick after brick in the draft while losing Bates, Reeder, and Hendrickson. I do think they had a decent free agency. Like, I kind of like getting Mafe for them.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad. That you could see their edge rushing situation being all right. The defense is very much an only can go up territory.
Burrow isn't at a tier by himself at the bottom. Like, it's very close between them.
I just think that defense, and it part of it is just I have so little faith in the front office. Like,
yeah.
But frankly, like this Buffalo offseason in terms of like the vibes and just the weirdo press conference stuff really pushes them down for me, even though they were by far the closest to making the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely between Lamar and Herbert, because I think Minter is probably going to do a pretty decent job with the defense in general, but they're still working from behind the 8-ball. And with the Chargers, truly, like, one of their biggest issues last year was just straight up bad luck. Okay, both your tackles go down. You can't do anything about that.
If Cook and Dawkins got hurt in Buffalo, like, they'd be fucked. That's their best. If Chase and Higgins got hurt, they'd be done. If Derrick Henry and Linderbaum got hurt, the Ravens would be done. Like, that's what happened to the Chargers last year.
Kind of what happened to the Ravens, except it was just Lamar that got hurt.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the Chargers are working as from behind the 8-ball. So really, Herbert's got it pretty peachy.
Yeah. The Bengals and the Bills just have such bad front offices.
Yeah. Josh might actually be last.
His receivers.
You got to deal with Bean.
You got to deal with the ownership acting like a bumpkin. And then his defense, if you compare it roster-wise, like, I know results-wise, it was extremely different from where Cincinnati was at last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like there are just some fundamental roster flaws that prevent it from really being a scary playoff defense. And McDermott seemed to be doing a decent job holding it together, and he's and letting them punch a little bit above their weight talent-wise. And now that part is gone. I don't know. I just don't feel like they've got, on paper, an unbelievable situation compared to Cincinnati after free agency. I don't know, though. Cincinnati was horrible last year.
They're so bad on defense. They're like...
Their linebacker and D-tackle and safety situation is like a total joke. Like, the spine of their defense, like, think about the Loveland touchdown to beat them last year. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, bro.
But
don't talk about their safeties, man.
We're talking about their safeties, bro.
They don't even have battle line. I mean, they signed Cook from Cincinnati legend. Cook returns to Cincinnati. Brian
Cook, Jordan Battle saving the day. Let's do it.
But yeah, I don't know. That's tough. But I feel like it might be Herbert. Like, Baltimore fucks up the Crosby situation.
Yeah.
The Bengals fuck up all their free agent situations. The Bills are fucking up situations. It feels like the Chargers are like maybe underwhelming, but they're not like actively selling. I don't know.
I still think overall, like, compared to last year, you're going to get a great tackle duo and you're going to get a great OC.
Yeah.
And the draft hasn't even happened yet. We're not even done with free agency.
Matt, to not pick the Chargers. What is it?
Harbaugh.
Evil.
Yeah, I would.
Evil Harbaugh. I feel like you're kind of locked into a mid receiver room if you're Herbert, and that's annoying.
Yes, I agree, but you can work. Well, every time I'm like, well, they've got guys who are like flawed, but not all bent, and Ladd could rebound. Every time I do that, then I think of the Texans game. It's like, okay, well, there wasn't anything that Herbert could do at all in that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've just invested so much in receiver at this point. Like, everybody on that team is somebody they've really put time into, or at least a lot of the guys, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily exclude them from going receiver again. I really wish they had landed Pierce. I agree.
Yeah. And the defense, like maybe Minter propped up the defense. Like if Minter
I'm
was
very worried about that too. When you look at the,
is that a Mike McDonald situation, just like it was for the other Harbaugh brother? Like, so what the Ravens think is that's exactly what the Ravens think, and I like could kind of see the vision.
Sure.
In which case, Lamar would be the best. I definitely think it's Lamar and Herbert as maybe your best rosters going into next year, and then Burrow and Josh Allen at second in terms of pure rosters.
There's 2 tiers.
But
speaking of Alec Pierce, my neighbor thinks Alec Pierce sucks.
Coach?
Yeah.
He thinks he's a merchant, a deep ball merchant?
No, I just think he sucks. I was yeah.
You showed him.
He came home. I was like out in my yard yesterday, and he's like, "How's it going, Blaiden?" I'm like, "I'm good. How are you?" And he was like, "How do you like the Browns moves?" And I'm like, "Hey, I don't feel like we're handcuffed to taking offensive line."
Yeah.
And then I was like, I really like that Alec Pierce is staying in Indianapolis. That was a guy I was kind of hoping landed in Cleveland, but I think that's a good move for Indy. He's like, "No, he sucks." I'm like, "What?" So
I gotta say, that group of dudes we had on with Wasserman years ago has ended up being unbelievably good.
It's insane. Ryan Wright.
McBride was literally tight end 1 last year. Pierce just got $30 million a year. Nakobe Dean is good. Ryan Wright, just got like huge money.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, but it wasn't like high odds of that happening.
We had Hassan Haskins on. Is there anybody else I'm forgetting?
We had Jalen Naylor on, and he got paid.
Oh yeah, and he got paid.
I guess it's just that they all hit free agency, but Jalen Naylor has a chance too to be, I think, much better in a situation where he's not behind Justin Jefferson. Like I thought that was a good signing. The Raiders. If I was Max Crosby, I might just say let's just see how this goes. Like, is this going to be a Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud situation where like big free agency and rookie quarterback like gets a pretty good offense pretty quickly? But
who knows?
Maybe Naylor, it doesn't move the needle like that. I don't know. But Pierce.
I thought it was a good pickup though.
Pierce doesn't suck. Alec Pierce, tell him about the EPA per target. All right.
EPA per target.
0.66 last year. That's 2/4 of a point every time you target him. Like, imagine that.
That would be a good video. Like, you're going up to people who like older guys, and you're going to like out of like a barber shop or something like that to talk ball.
Yes.
And you've got like the body cam, you've got like the Ray-Bans glasses, something like that, and then your goal is just to bring up like EPA and DVOA and.
Yeah, dude.
I like that a lot. Go to like an old school barber shop and like be as stat nerd as possible there.
The other prospect interviews, there were 2 others: Isaiah Thomas from Oklahoma,
yes,
and Keontae Ingram from USC.
That's right.
So
that's a pretty great hit rate, honestly.
It's an insane hit rate
because none of those guys were first round.
No.
And more of them than not got more than, like $10 million a year. That's, well, I guess.
What did you think of the Pierce deal? I mean, were you like, oh yeah, that's an overpay, or the Colts had to do it?
Well, if you're going to trade Pittman, you have to do it.
Right.
We're bringing back Daniel Jones and getting rid of his top 2 wide receivers so we can pay Daniel Jones $50 million. Okay. I mean, who would have been on the outside for them?
Doolin.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like you.
I like Ashton Doolin.
Look, you know what I mean.
Doolin.
No, seriously.
Doolin's going to replace Pierce. I like that, right? Or not Pierce, Pittman.
I don't, there's a difference between being, the guy who's stepping up for Pittman and whatever, and losing both Pittman and Pierce and being really thin outside receiver. So I do think there was a level of you had to do it, honestly. Mm-hmm. And $29 million is very expensive. I mean, his price tag kept climbing and climbing. I think ultimately he was a really good player. I think that I've been saying it forever. He's got a very good skill set that slots him in a certain archetype that is very valuable.
Yeah.
And a lot of other teams were willing to pay him apparently even more. Apparently he got offered 30 plus million if he took less money to stay at 29. So I do think that speaks to the type of value that somebody like that brings. But it's not cheap, man. Your passing attack just got way more expensive, and I wonder if the Colts can keep up with that. I wonder if Daniel Jones off an Achilles is going to lead a unit that makes that worth it, I guess.
Yeah,
well, if Alec Pierce is like truly your number one now, like his A dot last year was 20 yards. That's not what it's going to be this year. Like he is a very efficient, very productive deep threat, but we're looking at 83 targets, many of them the go ball, right? It's going to have to be a more well-rounded route tree, I imagine, if we're going to really be seeing him as a number one receiver in this offense.
He's just got to open things up for Josh Downs. This is really all the story of Josh Downs, who's such a beast.
Downs is a beast. I like that.
I have no qualms about Pierce's value. I think you look at Deshaun Jackson is the guy you look at as a premier deep threat only guy, and he's a journeyman. And like I said, every single year, his offenses get better. The team he just left got worse. Like it's not just a coincidence. It is a trend having somebody who can space the field. So I understand the value for Pierce. I mean, he's an 1,000-yard receiver now, hitting 26 years old. Arguably, that's when your prime just starts is 26 years old, I think, for an athlete. Like, I get it. I guess my only qualm for the Colts would be, does this lock you into mid? They didn't have a lot of cap space to operate before these deals. They won 8 games last year. Now, you know,
they won 8 games last year, and they were starting Phillip Rivers for a lot of that. I don't know if I want to just take that straight up.
Yeah, that's just the only. That's the only qualm I have.
Is that all of their moves, or are we kind of lumping in the Pierce move with Daniel Jones, who we think might be locking them into mid? Because now my worry with the Daniel Jones stuff is like, you got to hit on him last year. But, you know, like we said at the start of the episode, or how much surplus value, how much of a deal are you getting at $50 million a season from him?
Right.
Yeah. Is he playing like a $50 million player? Is he a $50 million value?
I mean, the other thing they did was they signed Michael Clemens and let Kwity Paye go, which is a downgrade and not worth the money saved, probably.
Yeah.
But they may not have a choice. Paye leaving is fine, but like paying Michael Clemens any kind of serious money is like crazy. Like he's you can get that for $1 million. You can get that in the draft so easily, and they paid him like, I think 2 years, 17, something like that. That's bad. So I don't know. We'll see if the Colts and Ballard ever end up making something more than fine. But Pierce isn't the problem there, I guess. Like paying Pierce is not why that would happen, I guess. So
yeah.
Yeah,
that's all I have.
That's all. I guess that's all I've got. Shout out the Browns and Blaiden. You said that they'd not forced into taking an offensive lineman.
That's like, dude, I was doing mock drafts and like, because I kept looking at the depth chart. I'm like, dude, we don't even have like a real person.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing these mock drafts and I'm taking like 4 offensive linemen. I'm like, this sucks. This is awful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, now I don't have to do that. So like you're looking at their offensive line depth chart right now, and it's DeJuan Jones, Zion Johnson, Elton Jenkins, Tevin Jenkins, and Titus Howard. It's like not great, but there's some starting points there. You can make this work a little bit. And then if you draft I don't know, anyone, you can start to kind of build this.
I'm kind of with you, Blaiden. It's not it's not efficient money, I think.
It's
any of
not
this.
efficient, no.
Elton Jenkins failed his physical. Zion Johnson has never been very good. Titus Howard is, we know that he's below average, and now he's being paid a bunch of money. Like, you can look at that and say, like, absolutely no way is that how you should send money.
Probably going to be a bottom 10, maybe a bottom 5 offensive line again, but at least you have warm bodies.
And I don't think it has to be bottom 5. Like,
doesn't have to be. The reason why I think it could be bottom 5 is like, have any of these guys ever played together?
Yeah.
Like,
Elton
the
Jenkins is
chemistry
really good
could
at that
be-
kind of thing. Elton Jenkins is really, really smart, and he is really versatile, and he has his head on a swivel always. Like, he's a genius. I think getting him is, if he is healthy, it's a big deal, I think. And that's a lot of weight on that offensive line. Like, I'm excited to see them all, get right downhill and run duo and see what movement can be made. Zion Johnson, I actually thought improved last year a little bit and has some kind of recovery skills, and was, a straw in it, trying to block a dam break, which was the Chargers offensive line last year, which maybe made him look a little bit worse.
Sure.
So I don't think any of those guys have to be total liabilities, but like, they obviously, like, Zion could suck, Jenkins could get hurt,
Right.
Howard could be very average. It's all very possible.
You still have to draft offensive line. It's still a need, but like, if they really like Lemon or Tate or Tyson at 6, I think they can now feel more comfortable doing that and not having their hand forced into taking like any of the 2 top tackle prospects there.
Yeah, I think this is a situation where, like, best case scenario actually ends up okay for this Browns offensive line all of a sudden, and worst case scenario is terrible. I don't know. You have paid for some sort of ceiling. We'll see.
Yeah.
Like, the tackles are still pretty bad, so maybe it's all mood.
Yeah, I mean, DeJuan Jones has like some pop in his hands. He's just so slow, dude.
DeJuan Jones is... I wonder where he ranked among pressures allowed per game last year, dude.
But like, how much of that is also like these quarterbacks don't?
He's also like not a great strategist at the offensive tackle position. Like, he's not somebody who feels the game very well. I think he's just kind of a big object. Like, he's not gaming leverage or gaming body position or gaming what maybe the tendency of the lineman is. He's just kind of like getting to his drop point and like hoping they maybe go right through his frame. But like, why would you do that? His frame is the biggest in the fucking league.
Right.
So
I think my dream draft for Cleveland right now is Lemon at 6, and then Freeling falls to us at 24.
Everything that people say, and who knows if it's true, Freeling is more of like a gonna go at 6 type of guy now.
Oh,
like, he's rising.
Yeah,
it's over for me. Then maybe we'll get like Proctor or Lomu, and I'd be okay with that. But
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but
Ian Achor in the second round, something like that. Proctor.
Yeah, that would.
Or not in the second round with your second first round pick, maybe in the second.
Yeah, I've seen him mocked kind of like early second, so I don't know. We'll see. But thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Stay Hot. Long episode, a lot of free agency stuff to go over, and some more stuff is going to happen. Of course, we'll talk about that on the next episode. We're going to keep going through our draft, our pre-draft process. We're going to continue getting ready for that. But until next time, as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Hot, we will catch you on the flippity flop.